Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I hope everyone is having a great 2022 so far. Unfortunately, I got sick. So the second week of 2022, I got hit with a cold and I was out for about a week. And being pregnant, you're really limited on what you are allowed and not allowed to take when you're pregnant. So it was mostly just like a lot of rest and water for myself. But before I got sick, I did a lot of brainstorming on what I wanted my 2022 to look like. And typically at the start of the year, I have all of these like personal and professional goals that I want to hit, and I'm just like pumped with like travel plans. And this year it's just different. So to kind of come back for 2022, come back after my little break, I wanted to sit down and chat with you about kind of my focus for this year, both like personally and creatively. So let's get into it. So while I was thinking about my 2022, I had two thoughts that essentially wouldn't leave my mind. The first is to document more. So last year I had picked up a book called Women Photographers, and one of the photographers featured in this book, her name is Berenice Abbott. Excuse me if I say her name wrong, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. And she worked on a series called Changing New York. So she had spent some time in Europe, I think it was around 7-8 years, and then years later she came back to New York, and New York was undergoing these massive changes. So she was determined to document the changes that were undergoing New York at the time. And when you look at these photos, it really makes you think like this photo, it was of a time and a place that has likely changed. These streets are different, the buildings are different, the people, the modes of transportation, society, everything is different now than when these photos were taken. So it really made me reflect on the fact that the memories that I am taking a photograph of, they're of a time and a place in my life that is likely going to change. So this May or June, Max and I are going to be welcoming our baby into the world, and I am so excited. Like, our lives are literally changing forever this May and June, and I'm just so excited for all of the documenting I get to do, not only of our baby, but of our family, all of the adventures we're going to have, all of the big and small moments. So documenting these moments that matter without taking away from them is a huge focus of mine for this year. The second thought that really wouldn't leave my mind for 2022 was experimenting with video and film. So not like YouTube video and film, but like applying video and film to documenting moments that matter to me without taking away from them. So I've experimented with this when I can. One of the first experiments I did is I recorded kind of in a video format our mochi making tradition that we do every single year. It's part of our Japanese tradition that before New Year's Day we make mochi. And I kind of wanted to just experiment with this type of record keeping. And so impromptu, I created a little mini film of our Japanese tradition of mochi making. And I creatively felt something that I feel that I've been missing. So learning more about making films, experimenting with videos and films, and documenting moments that matter to me without taking away from them in a family context is sort of like my second creative focus for this year. Obviously, my personal focus for this year is going to be my family. So getting the house ready for the baby, getting our lives ready for the baby. Come the springtime, it's just going to be making sure the baby's okay and just focusing on our lives and that kind of stuff. Normally, every single year I have, a list of travel goals that I have where I want to travel internationally at least once and then maybe take a domestic trip and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to be traveling internationally this year. I am not super comfortable flying on a plane right now. I'm not super comfortable going to other cities right now, especially, just because of the time we're in and me being pregnant and just a little bit more vulnerable and susceptible to sickness and everything like that. And so I don't think we're going to be traveling internationally this year. I know we really want to go to Mexico and Cuba and Dominican Republic and stuff like that, but I'm scared of getting sick while we're abroad. And so I don't think that's going to be happening for us this year. I think if we do take any trips this year, one, it'll be close to the border in the States. So if we do travel, I am thinking maybe we'll do Seattle, because Seattle's 6 hours of a drive for us, so we don't even have to fly, we can drive to Seattle. So I'm thinking if we would travel outside of Canada, Seattle's probably my main kind of destination I would like to visit for this year. But if we don't make it across the border and we decide to stay even more local, then it's just going to be like a lot of trips to like maybe Calgary or Vancouver Island or Whistler, kind of like staying within like the BC, southern Alberta. Like Calgary would probably be the farthest like that way we would travel. So a lot of like maybe camping this summer, depending on how things go with the newborn and everything. Normally I do have a lot of travel plans and I'm very excited about them. And this year is just going to be one of those years where it's not going to happen for us. Maybe next year, because you know, by next year the baby will be a little bit older, the baby will have all of its shots or whatever it is, and we might be able to like take a trip to Hawaii or Mexico, and maybe things are going to be a little bit more open then. So yeah, this year probably not going to happen, and just personally our lives are just going to be a little bit more focused around family and the baby come the springtime. I think it's pretty natural for that to happen when you're expecting. That's kind of like where I'm thinking, you know, personal focus is going to be this year. So like I said at the beginning of the video, like normally every single year I have a list of personal and professional goals that I want to accomplish, and the list goes on forever, and I'm super stoked for this year. And this year just feels different to me. This year I really don't have huge major goals or milestones that I want to reach. A lot of my goals are very, very simple this year, and that they're more like focuses that I'm trying to hone on in this year. So the first focus that I had talked about is documenting moments that matter without taking away from them. This is huge, and maybe I'll do a story time behind why this is like so personally important to me, because there is like a story behind it. But yeah, that is one of my first creative focuses for this year. And the second is experimenting with more video and film. So kind of like applying both of them together, and I'm just really excited about it for the new challenge of learning more about video and learning more about film making and just that kind of a thing. So let me know down in the comments if you have any goals or focuses for this year. If you're kind of like me before, where you had plenty of goals and this year feels a little different and that you kind of toned it down and you just have a few focuses. So yeah, I would really like to hear down in the comments. If you like this video, then hit that like button below and subscribe. Go follow me over on Instagram at Beautifully Wonder, because I definitely post there a little bit more often right now, especially in my stories. And I'll see you in the next video.